Checking with the boys who are down in Indianapolis right now. David Solano is joined by Michigan play-by-play man Matt Shepard at Champions in Indianapolis.
Thanks a lot, Tom. That's right. We are live here in downtown Indianapolis at the Champion Sports Bar and Grill inside of the Marriott here along with Matt Shepard. Shep and I are here inside, a little sunshine outside, and a lot of Kentucky fans in the lobby, Shep, as I was walking in here today. Yeah. And, of course, Kentucky just right down the road, really.
Yeah, they're taking over Indianapolis now that Louisville is gone, and Kentucky has owned just about every single restaurant/bar in this city, and you can understand why. They're just a couple hours away, and they feel like this might be the year for their club.
So excited to watch this ball game. You look at so many storylines. One of them is the youth on both sides of these ball clubs. You know, John Calipari's probably got some tricks up the bag here in his bag for this ball game.
Well, you know, he's a guy who's used to these one-and-done type situation. I know it's a huge discussion point for a lot of people in sports talk radio. Is one-and-done good for college basketball or not? John Calipari continues to prove that it can work. Michigan is kind of the antithesis of that. Jordan Morgan has stayed for 4 years. John Horford is a redshirt junior. Redshirt senior. He's in his fourth year at Michigan. So we'll see what happens today. But we do know this, okay? Michigan has had to deal with Texas, Tennessee, and now Kentucky. All very big, long teams inside. People have continued to doubt Michigan's ability to rebound and defend with these teams. The Wolverines have proved them wrong so far. They'll have to do the same today. All three of these teams among the top 5 in offensive rebounding in the country. Michigan will have to get after it today. Not necessarily win that battle, but control the battle, because Kentucky is a club that will try to get to the rim at every possibility they can. Can they shoot from the outside? Sure. But they are an attacking type offense. They average 83 possessions a game. Michigan to 73 possessions a game. Whoever wins that type of battle might come out on top.
One of the question marks, if you're a Michigan fan, is, well, Kentucky's Willie Cauley-Stein, the big fellow, so the 7-foot center, will he play? Left ankle injury right now.
Yeah, but Dakari Johnson came in, had a career high against Louisville. You're not losing a whole lot with Dakari Johnson, even though he doesn't play as many minutes. He is a guy who's averaging a little bit less in points, a little bit less in rebounds, but only 2 in each category. Still shoots the ball at a high percentage. Still a long guy that Michigan will have to contend with if they're going to take it to the 10.
You know what I'm excited to watch, too, is Nick Stauskas. The kid keeps blossoming every game. You get him hot in his sweet spot from beyond the arc. Yeah. He's dangerous, Shep.
Yeah, I mean, I think Michigan would like to see him a little bit more involved. Get the ball in his hands. Let him create a little bit more. It's not always about shooting for Stauskas. It's been more about his distribution that has really helped Michigan, you know, elevate their game in the NCAA tournament. The difference here against Kentucky is they're big, Dave, on the wings. Other teams are big inside, but Texas had Isaiah Taylor, wasn't a really big guy. You look at a Tennessee club, and they had an Antonio Barton. He's not a really tall guy. This Kentucky club goes 6'6", 6'6", 6'6", 6'9", and 7 feet. It's the biggest team Michigan's faced all season long. With Michigan's wing players, Robinson, Levert, Stauskas, they're all 6'6". Question is, who does Jordan Morgan match up with? He loves this challenge. He's been up to this challenge all postseason long. And Derek Walton. Will Derek Walton draw the assignment to James Young? 2 Michiganders, Young out of Rochester, Walton out of Detroit. They did play each other in high school when James Young first started in Troy High School.
Coach Beilein, you cover the Michigan Wolverines inside out, Shep. If you're Coach Beilein, what did you tell Karis LeVert after the situation, the last game, and heading into this game to kind of keep his composure and confidence going?
Well, because of the Josh Richardson situation and because of the Jordan McRae ability to score 19 and 24 respectively, you just keep doing what you're doing. He is Michigan's best on-ball defender. He will be the guy who's going to have the challenge of taking Aaron Harrison. Aaron Harrison might be the key to this game. I know everyone talks about Julius Randle, and for good reason. Julius Randle has 23 double-doubles, folks. That ties Kevin Love for most by a freshman in NCAA history, but second all-time to Michael Beasley of Kansas State in a single season. But Julius Randle is a guy who's going to get his, okay? The question is, how does Michigan stop Andrew Harrison, who's averaging 17 points per game in the NCAA tournament, has scored double digits in each of those games? That, I think, will be the key matchup today.
So Shep and I are just getting started. Lots more from us about the big game between, of course, Kentucky and Michigan later on in the show. Tom, we're going to kick it back to you guys back there in Detroit.
Appreciate it. We will check in with both of you a little bit later in this edition of the Suburban Forward 7 Sports Cave. What I've loved about Michigan It's Jordan Morgan stepping up, not only on the court, but also with a little attitude.
Yeah.
You know, he's really coming at it hard this tournament and proving himself mentally, I think, saying that he's up for every challenge.
He's tough. He's going to give Randall all he can handle, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. Randall is just so good. He's going to be in the NBA next year. He's going to be a really good NBA player. And as Shep mentioned, the size they have. Michigan, they're going to compete because they do, and they're so well coached. This is going to be a real struggle for them. It really is, because Kentucky, everybody talks about, Calipari this and all. They play great pressure defense. That's what I'm worried about as far as Michigan.
Michigan has not really handled the press and the inbounds really all season long.
By the way, I'm glad you brought up the inbounds. Why do you have their smallest guy inbounding the ball into the basket like Spike did the other day?
I would assume that he doesn't crumble under pressure, although it didn't look too good on Friday. And he's smart with the basketball. I think if you look at Michigan. And I'm not saying this because I graduated from Michigan and I love Michigan and it's a great school, but they're a very smart basketball team. And I think that's where people underestimate Michigan, is that they're not going to get rattled.
Right.
They play their system. And I believe the key for Michigan is it's going to be John Horford and if Max Bleifeld has to get into the game, those guys are going to have to give them something and do something, because Jordan Morgan does need help. Jordan Morgan gets help and Michigan cans their threes and plays smart basketball, they can take Kentucky.
All right, but welcome back to the Suburban Ford 7 Sports Cave. Hope you've enjoyed it. We've really jammed a lot into these first 45 minutes, and we're going to continue. We're going to head back down to Indianapolis. Our David Solano is standing by with Michigan play-by-play man Matt Shepard to talk more about the Wolverines and Wildcats.
Thanks a lot, Tom. Again, Matt Shepard and I standing by here as we get ready for the big game. And what's interesting, Matt, is Kentucky leads the all-time series between these programs 4-2. And what's interesting also is the last time Kentucky met Michigan was back in 1993, a game the Wolverines won in overtime.
Yeah, the Wolverines won that game.
Remember that?
So there's not a whole, no, I don't, but there's not a whole lot of history between these two programs. We know all about Kentucky's history, most wins in college basketball history, all the Final Fours, all the Elite Eights, all the NCAA tournament wins. But still, when you talk about brands, Kentucky basketball, University of Michigan, there's no question you have it all here today.
I think it's also worth passing along that the Big Ten really representing right now at the highest level.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, Michigan State, Michigan, enough said.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that Wisconsin reached here. Last weekend in Milwaukee, I had a friendly debate with a lot of my national cohorts, and they were downgrading the Big Ten a little bit. Wisconsin gets there the first time in Bo Ryan's history, the second time in Wisconsin history. Ironically enough, they knock off Arizona both times to get there. I think it's great. That's a team, Dave, that I think too many people have said, well, you know what, that's the way they used to play.
Right.
They always played low-scoring games. Not so much. Frank Kaminsky can pick and pop with the best of big men in the country. Trevon Jackson's a game manager. Sam Decker is a future pro. Nigel Hayes comes off their bench. Ben Brust can shoot it from deep. That's a team that can burn you in the half court and in transition. Good for Wisconsin.
And lastly, Shep, before we wrap things up, the key matchup, I know it involves Julius Randle for you.
Well, for me, it's more Aaron Harrison, I think, against Karis LeVert. Julius Randle's going to get his, folks. There's no question. He is a power forward, and he is a beast. A lot of big guys will force you down in the block. They'll catch the ball mid-post, pound it on the deck a couple of times, and then do their offensive skill set. Not with Julius Randle. He'll catch it on the wing. He'll cross over. He'll face you up, and he'll take you in the paint. He's a lot like Mitch McGary in that regard. He's going to get his. The big question is, can Michigan hold Kentucky to second chance points and limit them underneath that? They average 15.5 second chance points per game. The Wolverines have to keep that down. And can Michigan turn them over? Kentucky, 12 turnovers per game, but Michigan isn't a defense that forces a lot of turns. If they can get their big guys in foul trouble, limit the transition points, and keep them off the glass and the putbacks, then Michigan's got a really good chance of advancing to Dallas and possibly be 3 Big Ten teams in the Final Four. How cool would that be?
Great perspective, Shep. That'd be awesome. Tom, we're going to send it back to you guys up there in Michigan.
Appreciate it. Of course, you can hear Shep on the call on WWJ. That game starts at 5:05, but the action gets started today.